The good old hot take.
I think that's ridiculous. I'm trying to explain. I'm trying to be respectful. Here's my point.
But I had an epiphany Saturday morning, and I've thought about it for 2 nights. Hey, LeBron, Ben Simmons is here. We're all good.
Who's winning the Super Bowl on this June 1st?
I have the Rams playing the Houston Texans, and I have the Houston Texans winning the Super Bowl.
Wait, what? AP Tone Diggs thinks the Texans are going to win the Super Bowl against the Rams? Well, there goes my totally original, unique hot take. But why? Why are the Texans going to win the Super Bowl? Who's going to be the worst to first in 2026? Who's going to win the MVP? And which young player is going to blindside everybody with a major breakout season? In this video, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to present 4 big bold takes for the 2026 NFL season. Hit that like button if you like this video so far. Subscribe to Chicken Nuggets for more NFL and Bears content, and follow me on Josh Fine Film Design for some amazing sports cinema. So I actually sat down to record this exact same video last offseason, but unfortunately it never saw the light of day. But I still have the footage. Some of my takes were spot on, some aged very poorly, and throughout this video as I give my 2026 hot takes, I do want to revisit some of the stuff I said last year and reflect on those 2025 hot takes. But without further ado, and that takes me to my first hot take of this video. My first hot take: Caleb Williams is going to win the MVP. I'm getting the homer take out of the way first, trust me. This has definitely been the most fun and the least treacherous offseason that I've experienced as a Bears fan, without a doubt. In 2025, the Bears finally cashed in on a very long rebuild. The Bears finally won a playoff game for the first time since 2010, and they did it in electric fashion, mounting the biggest comeback in Bears playoff history and the biggest comeback in Bears versus Packers history. The Bears finally had something to show for the numerous years in a row in which we were dubbed off-season champions.
They've been the off-season champs for 3 years running.
The Bears did everything right heading into the 2025 season, bringing in 4 new offensive linemen and 2 new elite weapons in the draft, Colson Loveland and Luther Burden. But even still, Bears fans like myself and the NFL media were hesitant to project good things for the Bears going into 2025. My hot take is I don't think the Bears will have a winning record. The organization had a really bad track record until Ben Johnson's arrival, drafting Mitch Trubisky over Pat Mahomes, being 5th worst in win percentage from 2020 through 2024, and having some wild off-the-field affairs in the beginning of the 2023 season.
That an FBI raid did happen on defensive coordinator of the Chicago Bears, Alan Williamson's house.
And last but certainly not least, acting wildly incompetent in the pursuit of a new stadium. Now, after the Bears have taken on an entirely new identity under Ben Johnson, rooted in resilience, grit, and explosive football, I'm not afraid to make bold takes in favor of my Chicago Bears. I truly believe that Caleb Williams is going to win the MVP in 2026. But before I get into the on-the-field reasons in which I think Caleb will win the MVP, let's take a step back and refresh our brains on what the MVP award actually is. It's a narrative award. And boy, does Caleb Williams have the power of narrative on his side heading into 2026. Contrary to popular belief, Caleb Williams was a very flawed quarterback in 2025. He consistently got off to slow starts, put his team in a hole, and had erratic accuracy. Not to mention, he still had the slowest time to throw out of all starting quarterbacks in the NFL, a flaw that carried over from his rookie into his sophomore season, but was just covered up a lot better by an improved offensive line. It rarely felt like he put together a complete game where he maintained rhythm and attacked all parts of the field for all 4 quarters. The difference was especially glaring in the second versus the fourth quarter of all Bears games this season. The Bears ranked 26th in the league in second quarter points per game, but first in the league in fourth quarter points per game. But I do have an honest question for anyone watching this video who's not a diehard Bears fan. Did you actually know all of this? Did you actually know that Caleb Williams was like a pretty flawed quarterback in 2025? Because by the way the media and the NFL machine treat Caleb Williams, you would think he's a bona fide superstar quarterback. Let me read you the last 5 quarterbacks to grace the cover of Madden before Caleb Williams: Josh Allen, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Drew Brees. Despite the Madden cover being trivial in the grand scheme of things, it is a sign that the NFL as a whole wants to market Caleb Williams and wants to put him on a pedestal. But it's not like he was the only quarterback to break out in the last couple of years. Jaden Daniels brought a damned Commanders organization back from the dead. Bo Nix had an equally exciting season in the clutch last year, leading the Broncos to the AFC Championship game, and Drake May plays for one of the most storied franchises in the entire league and just took took that team all the way to the Super Bowl behind an MVP type season. What I'm trying to say is Caleb Williams has not by any means solidified himself as the best young quarterback in the NFL, but he gets treated like royalty by the league. And I truly believe that as Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson continue to grow together, Caleb will clear up his inconsistencies and learn how to operate an offense for all 60 minutes. Another pattern with the MVP award that I found fits Caleb Williams heading into 2026 is that Caleb Williams actually lost a lot of supporting talent this offseason. He lost his number one receiver in DJ Moore and two of his best blockers up front in Ozzie Trapillo and Drew Dahlman. When Patrick Mahomes lost his number one wide receiver in 2022, he played amazing ball the next season and won the MVP award. When Josh Allen lost his number one receiver Stephon Diggs in 2024, he played amazing ball the next season and won the MVP award as well. Caleb Williams has the on-field potential, supporting cast, and media favoritism behind his back to engineer the first MVP season for a Chicago Bear since Walter Payton in 1977. His competition will be stiff. You have Joe Burrow and the Bengals, who have everything they need to repeat their offensive success of 2024. Pat Mahomes might finally have the help he needs to engineer a long overdue MVP season. And Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are always there in the MVP conversation as well.
Let's go! No! Yeah! Yeah! Let's go!
All right, let's revisit one of my good takes from last offseason. I said the Jaguars are going to win the South, and I was right. The Jacksonville Jaguars are going to win the AFC South in 2025. Not enough people have been talking about Liam Cohen's impending takeover in Jacksonville and how he is exactly what Trevor Lawrence needs right now. I was very high on Liam Cohen heading into 2025. He led a very high-octane offense in Tampa Bay and was very influential in the career revival of Baker Mayfield. This next hot take in this video has a similar beat. I think a new face is going to emerge as division champion under new leadership. A team that was held back by a very bad head coach, but has been quietly rebuilding a strong roster along the way. My favorite worst to first candidate in 2026, the New York Football Giants. I truly believe from the bottom of my heart that the New York Giants will be better than the Cowboys, the Eagles, and the Commanders in 2026. They finally reset the coaching staff, bringing in longtime head coach Jim Harbaugh from the Ravens. Even though his coaching style was definitely getting stale in Baltimore, he's still an excellent head coach in the NFL who's going to raise the Giants' floor big time. They've started each of the last 3 seasons with a 2-7 record and are consequently desperate for a culture change in New York. Though they lost Dexter Lawrence, I think they actually got better in the trenches with a pair of top 10 picks, adding Arvell Reese and Francis Maui-Noah to the squad in the 2026 NFL Draft.
It starts in the trenches. That's what I'll say.
The Giants' offense actually made a huge leap in 2025, going from 31st in 2024 to 16th in total points per game in 2025. And that was without their 2 best playmakers for most of the year, a revolving door at starting quarterback, and a head coach who got fired in the middle of the season. So imagine what happens when you have a legitimate head coach, another year of development for Jackson Dart, and some of the best young weapons in the NFL at his disposal, Malik Neighbors and Cam Scatterbo. I think we're looking at another major leap for the Giants offense. And with a stacked young defensive line, I think this team is going to have the juice to go from worst to first to the East in 2026. Meanwhile, I'm not actually too sure about the rest of the East. The Cowboys have the potential to have the best offense in the NFL, but I still think everybody needs to pump the brakes on their expectations heading into this season. Yes, their defense did get better with additions like Rashawn Gary, Kobe Durant, Caleb Downs in the draft, but we're talking about marginal upgrades to one of the worst defenses of all time last year. And trust me, I know better than anybody how much better they got simply by getting rid of Matt Eberflus. But I still don't think their defense is in a position to win that division going into this season. And if only they had like a superstar edge rusher who had a historic start to his entire career on a Hall of Fame trajectory that they drafted. I guess we'll never know. Well, what about the Eagles? It's definitely possible that they three-peat as division champions. But how do we actually know that the new Eagles offensive coordinator Sean Mannion is a good play caller? He doesn't have the play calling experience. And the last time a Packers quarterbacks coach landed an offensive coordinator role, it was really bad. The Eagles also lost their biggest receiving threat in A.J. Brown And though we're excited about Mekhi Lemon, we don't actually know how well he's going to fill that role. And lastly, the Washington Commanders. They're still the oldest team in the league on average, and I think they're more likely to repeat their 2025 woes rather than shoot back to their 2024 level of success. If Jaden Daniels and Stephon Diggs can stay healthy, they can be okay on offense, but I think this roster is lacking the integral structure needed to win in this tough division. And just as I was writing this video, left tackle Laramie Tunsil just got ruled out for indefinitely. And yeah, I don't see any world in which the Commanders win the division. That leaves the New York Giants as my pick for the NFC East title this upcoming season. Yeah, editor's note. So I wrote and filmed and edited this whole sequence about the New York Giants, like division champs. I totally forgot that they hired Matt fucking Nagy, as their offensive coordinator. So throw everything I just said away. The Giants aren't winning shit. They're going to finish last in the division once again. Like I said, I know what it means to have Matt Nagy on your team. So everything I just said, I totally forgot they hired Matt Nagy. Throw it away. Sorry, I forgot. Another team that I think has worse to first potential is the Las Vegas Raiders. Well, not the Raiders themselves, but their new running back, Ashton Jeanty. I think Ashton Jeanty is going to lead the NFL in rushing yards. This might actually be the hottest take on this entire video. Ashton Jeanty was the only running back in the NFL last year to carry the ball at least 250 times and not eclipse 1,000 yards. He ranked 45th in the league in rushing yards per carry and never got the run game going for the Raiders, except of course against the Bears. But whatever. But let's not forget just how dominant Ashton Jeanty was coming out of college. He single-handedly outrushed 115 other colleges. He once scored 6 touchdowns and eclipsed 267 yards in just 20 carries. He was the most dangerous player in college football that we have ever seen since Barry Sanders. He carried a program that nobody has heard of before or since in Boise State to the college football playoff single-handedly. And he did all of that with 8 guys in the box on more than half of his rushing attempts. Ashton Jeanty has insane potential in the NFL. Plus, Jeanty and the Raiders offense are in a much better situation looking ahead. They hired Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak as their head coach, drafted Fernando Mendoza, signed Kirk Cousins, and most importantly, signed former Ravens center Tyler Linderbaum to the squad this offseason. And I think Ashton Jeanty is going to get a lot of carries this year. The Raiders have just enough of a passing attack to where defense is going to have to respect it, but it's not good enough to the point where they're going to be a pass-heavy offense. Their number 1 wide receivers are Jalen Naylor and some other guy. Ashton Jeanty will be far and away the Raiders' best offensive player in 2026, and he might finally have the supporting cast necessary to explode onto the scene. And it's not like he has to split carries either. His backup is Mike Washington. Have you ever heard of him? Me neither. I predict that Ashton Jeanty, under an improved system and supporting cast, will lead the NFL in rushing in 2026. Last, but certainly not least, in my hot takes video, the Houston Texans are going to win Super Bowl 61. The Houston Texans have been trying to go all in every single year ever since CJ Stroud exploded onto the scene as an elite quarterback in 2023. In fact, they started pushing their chips towards the middle of the table before CJ Stroud even played a single snap in the NFL, mere moments after drafting CJ Stroud. With the 2nd overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Texans gave away 4 draft picks to jump up and select defensive end Will Anderson with the 3rd overall pick in 2023. For a couple years, it looked like CJ Stroud could one day be a catalyst for the Houston Texans winning their first ever Super Bowl. He was an elite passer, especially on 3rd down. He elevated his teammates to career years. Nico Collins and Tank Dell both notched their highest producing seasons in 2023, and he even got some MVP buzz along the way. But eventually the wheels fell off for CJ Stroud as he played into his 3rd NFL season. He eventually looked like a shell of his former self. Throughout the 2024 and 2025 seasons, he lost one of his biggest targets in Tank Dell to a gruesome knee injury, had no support from his O-line, and arguably got outplayed by his backup Davis Mills. Meanwhile, the Texas defense, littered with talent all around, including Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson, continue to ascend into the best defense in the NFL. The Texans led all defenses in yards allowed per game, came second in points allowed per game, generated the third most turnovers, and the seventh most sacks in 2025. It all culminated though in an ugly divisional round exit where CJ Stroud single-handedly threw them out of the game with 4 interceptions, wasting a Super Bowl caliber defense. Heading into 2026, the Texans added even more talent into that elite defense in safety Reed Blankenship and defensive end Jadeveon Clowney, among a few others. All eyes are on CJ Stroud as the biggest X factor in the NFL. If he plays well, like his 2023 rookie campaign, I have no reservation in saying that the Houston Texans will win the Super Bowl. And I think he can do it. To start, he will finally have a run game to lean on. This offseason, the Texans added running back David Montgomery from the Detroit Lions. Montgomery was one of the best number 2 backs in the NFL last year, amassing over 900 total yards from scrimmage and scoring 8 touchdowns. Montgomery is a huge upgrade when you compare him to Woody Marks and Nick Chubb, perhaps one of the least productive running back duos in the entire league last year for the Texans. Tank Dell will be back too, a target who was clearly vital to CJ Stroud's success throughout his first 2 NFL seasons. And Tone Diggs made another good point about the Texans on the Pat McAfee show.
I have the Houston Texans winning the Super Bowl. I like what CJ has done this offseason versus last offseason when he was touring the world with Micah Parsons and talking a lot. He's really just gone to work. He's been in the gym. He cut his hair. I like what they did with their offensive line, brought in David Montgomery, and the defense only got better, and they were the best defense of all time last year, so I like the Houston Texans.
I'm a much bigger fan of CJ Stroud's antics this offseason compared to last offseason. Plus, he's playing for a contract this year. The Texans are clearly in no rush to pay CJ Stroud and already slapped on his 5th-year option, so the pressure is on him to play well if he wants to secure the generational wealth that comes with a second contract. And this will be the year where he earns his money. And if he does play well, you are combining a top 10 offense with a top 1 defense, and the Lombardi would be theirs to lose. But that wraps up this hot takes video. We have a new worst to first prediction, an MVP prediction, a Super Bowl pick, and a category leader prediction. I think I landed some pretty scorching takes in this video. Let me know some of your NFL 2026 hot takes in the comments below. Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl? Who do you think is going to win MVP? Who's your favorite underrated breakout candidate? And also feel free to let me know if you think my takes are absolutely garbage and that I should delete my account. Thank you for watching. Go check out Josh Fine Film Design. Subscribe and leave a like.